Hello up there. Working on the Mercury 9. Now, I got all of these spinners done. You saw the video on that a little bit ago. Sorry I'm a little choppy. Allergies have been really bad this week. They only last a week or two, and when they hit bad. But anyhow, and they're making me a little slow and groggy. Yeah, there you go. Not groggy. What I'm going to say is this. These guys fit in there fairly well. Alright? But a lot of light leak. So what I've been doing, and you can see it right here, is I am taking some aluminum duct tape. This is stuff right here. I got it at a home improvement store. It says Sure Tape, hold strong, AF912 on the inside. You do a search for that, Google search for that, you'll find the stuff. It's not really expensive, it's really reflective, it's adhesive backed, so it sticks inside the model real well. And I've lined both wings with it. Okay? Another thing I'm doing is this thing is built very, very well. Once you get these pins lined up in here, you can tell this thing's going to glue together and not come apart. You can't put the wires through where these supports are. They're too thick and heavy. But the wing is thick enough up here that you can run the wires through. And I took my Tamiya handy drill and I drilled some holes in it. And you can see the holes in there. So the wires fit through. And then I thread the wires through there. Thusly. And this isn't glued, so I have to hold it. The part sits in there like that, and then the other wing glues down on top of that. Now that's the tricky part, is to get this sitting in there and this wing gluing down at the same time. Yeah. Let me show you what happened on the first attempt of that. I didn't get everything lined up perfectly. We have this wing glued on. Okay, you can see the wires sticking out in the inside. I didn't leave the black ones quite long enough, but that's okay. I can take care of that. As long as they get into the body, we're good. Okay. Now, starting the back, you can see the joint's fairly good. That's just going to take a teeny bit of sanding and filling. Going around here, the squeeze method has squeezed enough of that out. That might just take a little bit of sanding. Same there. But what happened is the light unit inside here dislodged itself a little bit, and I couldn't get this clamped down right. So what you have is some glue marks on the surface of the hull. Okay? A little bit of sanding and they'll go away. It's not major. It's not the end of the world. It's just a pain to remove. And I got some glue marks on the upper edge of the wings. Not a big deal. Let's give it some power and see what she looks like. One thing to be careful of, and I've said this in a couple of videos, is you get the polarity right on these 4060s. You don't get the polarity right, it's going to bite you. Alright? Power up. And you can see she's running. You can see the pulsing going on in there. You can see I still have a little bit of light leak, but that tape does the job. Alright? And I'll take care of the light leak in a little bit. That's not a big deal. I plan to flat black the whole model and then do some other paint work on it. But I'm going to flat black the whole model first. Okay? And then I'll take care of every single one of these light leaks. I'm going to seam fill first. But the main reason I put that in there, that reflects the light very well up to where I'm going to put the lens up here. Okay? So you can see she's going to look pretty decent lit. She's going to have a glow right there on the end of the engine. It's going to pulse a little bit. So I just want to let you know where I'm at right now and how I'm putting this together. I'll be back once I get all three of them together to give you a kind of a light preview. Alright, now, this is something critical, okay, for anyone who's doing lighting or first getting into it. You need to test your circuits before you seal up your model. I know that one wing is working that I've already glued together. Wing number 2, I've got the circuit laid out in here and I've got it taped in. You can see some of the tape there to help hold it while I glue it together, because I didn't do that on the other one. I hooked the leads up to my power supply and the yellow lights aren't working. If I start fiddling with this resistor, the yellow lights come on. So there's a short in that resistor, and I got to find it and fix it before I glue this up and seal this, or it's just not going to work. Okay? Now chances are good if I seal that up it's going to work, because it just needs a little bit of pressure on it. Like this. Okay? I'm getting her aligned, I get her in there, and no, she's not working. So you can see why I've got to seal that up. And I've got to pull that and get that resistor fixed before I do seal it up. Sorry about that. Said the wrong thing. So I'm going to pull this, I'm going to fix that resistor, and then I'm going to get after it. It's just got a short between the resistor and the capacitor. And that's why the chip quits working. If I play with it and get that short out of there, it starts working. And when the resistor and capacitor short out, the timing part of it goes away. Okay? So it won't take much to fix it. It's just kind of a pain. Be back in a bit. Got it fixed. The solder joint on the resistor was loose. Okay? I thought about just sealing it up and, you know, pushing it in there and hoping for the best. And then I said, no, I'm going to examine all the joints and see what's up. And sure enough, one of the solder joints was loose. And that loose joint would have done her in. I had sealed it up and just tapped it and it would have went offline. So I'm glad I fixed it properly. I'm going to put her in there and seal her up. I'm going handheld with the camcorder for a minute, just so you guys can see what's going on here. I did some aluminum foil tape, and you can see it block most of the light, but not all of it. It's okay. I'm going to spray the outside of the model with black paint, so that's part of the process of painting this one up, is I'm going with alclad lacquers on the paint job. One thing that occurred to me, this kit is just, dripping with kit bashing goodness. And look at this setup right here. That feels to me like it is a modified shuttle from Star Trek or something. You can see my engine lights right there running. I think it's going to look good. The secondary hole, the last part of the hole is here. I haven't put enough wire lead on this yet. And I have some more work on the wire leads. But a little bit more soldering and I'm going to be able to button this hole together and start working on that major seam. The only real seam on the entire model, along with the seam along this one. Okay. Yes, I get to do seams. But that's okay. I'm used to it. We'll be getting at them pretty quickly. I just thought I had to share this because I think it's looking pretty good. I think those engines are going to come out looking exactly the way I envisioned them. Got some good motion going in there. Well, anyhow, I'm going to get back at it. Got the soldering iron all out and warmed up. It's getting replaced sometime in the next week. I ordered a soldering station off Amazon.com. I'll let you guys know about that one when it gets here. Alright. Oh, yeah. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Alright. Working on soldering. Okay. One of the challenges here was to figure out how to get power into this kit. It has a stand for this to sit on, and the stand clamps on these fins, which means there's no visible way of getting power in easily. The model also has this big arm that comes up for supplying fuel to the ship, and it mounts to the kit right here in this hole. One of the things about the arm is the hose they gave you was electrical wire. This is the hose that goes into the mounting arm that mounts up to the side of the ship. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, why don't I just supply power using this hose? So I'm going to. Now, that's going to be a bit off because I have to get the base of the diorama plant mapped out, and I got to figure out where I'm locating this thing. This is supposed to be painted black. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I might just go find some wire that's the exact same gauge that's black already. because painting that, you're going to move it at all, and that paint's going to flake and crack off unless you get some paint that's made for that sort of thing. I know they do make flexible paint, but it just worries me a little bit. I might try some Krylon or something made for plastic and see. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. The main reason I started the camera up is I'm going to run my wire leads out of here temporarily until I can figure out how to mate this to the that hose. I don't want these being pulled too far out here while I'm working on things. So what I did is I made some stops. What I did to make this stop is I took some masking tape, wrapped it around it a whole bunch, and put some heat shrink around it and heated it up. Now I can't pull this wire too far out. It's got to stop. It's going to sit in there. I'll just put some tape or something over it or knot the end so it doesn't go back in when I'm done soldering all these wires up. But this will keep things from pulling too hard out that way and disturbing all my wiring on the inside. This thing has a lot of room inside this body. Okay? So I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. I'm about to wire the whole inside, all the lighting for the inside together. Okay? We're about to do that. Not going to show that on camera because I think that's probably going to be boring. You've seen me doing enough soldering. So let me get at it. I think I've got enough leads, enough length. I got all my parts laid out. I got to solder the parts together first, then assemble the two halves. I'll come back and show you how I'm going to assemble the two halves after I've soldered all the parts together. And again, this one's simple because there's so much room in here. I've made other models where there's teeny bits of room. You solder the wires together, and you need to make the wires really short because there isn't room for them in the kit. And then you glue the two halves together, so you're working in a tiny, small space. I got the luxury of a lot of room here, and I got lots of lengths to my wires. So putting all this together is going to be pretty simple. I also got to cut some shrink tube, put it over my assemblies before I solder. So I can pull the shrink tube up and shrink tube it after the soldering. So let me get at that. I'm probably using this big diameter shrink tube with this yellow stuff since it's sitting there. So let me get at it. I'll show you when I'm done with the soldering so I can button this thing together and start doing seams. I need to have the seams done by Friday so I can start working on the base of the diorama and working on this guy and getting his windows squared up. And I've been looking at the windows. They're actually very square already. I just need to get a slight uniform size to these ones down at the bottom, and they're good to go. These three are good. The top windows up here are fairly good. I just need to clean it a little bit, and smoothing that with some Tamiya Extra Thin will probably do it. These windows are actually fairly good. I just got to smooth out the rims of the windows. So I need to get working on that building. I want to build a mission control inside here. So I need to scratch build a floor and some command consoles and some other stuff to get that going. That will be the fun part. Maybe even another 4060 in there so there's blinking lights on the command consoles and stuff like that. We'll see. Ooh, just had an idea. Alright, so let me get going. I'll quit rambling. Talk to you guys in a bit. Alright everyone, it took me a bit to do this. I got the wires done on the inside. You can tell she's up and running. You can see all three engines are running, including the one light for lighting the top of the ship, like this. Okay? So everything is running. Everything's running good. I just need to get enough slack in this top light here that I will be able to get her into the ship and get her in the position I want, but that shouldn't be too hard to do. Let me pull the camera off the tripod, bring her around so you can see what I've done. I still haven't done the heat shrink yet on the inside to seal up things. Okay? But you'll notice all the red LEDs are soldered together right there. I mean, all the red wires are soldered together. The green and black are soldered together. I color-coded things. Now, one thing about these 4060s is you better get the orientation straight up on your wiring. If you reverse the polarity, you're going to kill the 4060 chip. It just can't handle reverse polarity. So that's why I color-coded all the wires and stuck to pretty consistent color code. And that's why the wires coming out of the back are red and black, so I do not get confused whatsoever at the polarity. Because these things are sealed up, I can't fix that now. So I'm going to do the heat shrink tubing, heat shrink on those, and I'm going to button her up, and then I can start working on seam filling. This is a happy moment because once I get this the rocket itself done, the rest of this diorama is going to be a joy. I like doing groundwork. I like doing that sort of thing. And this is the most time-consuming part to me. This and the command center. Get those two done, and everything's just going to fly together after that. All right. I'll be back once I get her buttoned up and give you one more light test just to see how things are looking. You ready to go?
Yes, I am. I'm sleepy.
Okay. Sleepy? So am I. Should I turn the camera and look at me? Do we really want to do that? I'm as sleepy as you are. But hey, we're about to go. Then we can sleep on the plane. Alright, be back in a bit. Well, we're about to get airborne. They gave us the very back of the plane. According to Seat Guru, these are the worst seats in the plane. Absolutely. So.
Lucky you.
Oh yeah. Lucky me.
Unless you're not feeling well.
Well, you know, you're in the worst seat too.
I am.
So there we go. Just letting everyone know.
But I am close to the exit.
Well, I was telling her that the plane crashes, it's always the rear seats that survive.
That's exactly right.
So we're safe.
We are good.
You like being here? Look out that way.
I know. Reminds me of old times a lot.
Yeah, but there's snow on those mountains.
Well, during winter in El Paso, you can see that too.
During winter. This isn't winter.
Right,
This is May.
I know that's not winter.
This is where I grew up. Ah! What?
I was asking, how do you feel being here?
Well, like I said, this is where I grew up. I gotta go see the house I grew up in.
Oh. That's cool.
We're gonna drive by and see it. We're gonna see where Grandma lived. Where Grandpa had his store. See if they're still there. I doubt it. They've probably been bulldozed. No, the houses will be there, but the stores won't. Alright, I'm gonna quit recording now. Oh, it's not working.